Hello everybody, and welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for deciding to share some of your time with us. My name is Edoardo Binda Zane, and I will be the host of this live webinar. Live webinar in which we will talk about the project Digital Sky. Digital Sky is a project that has been funded, built, and developed thanks to Regione Veneto, or the regional authority of northeastern Italy, should you not reside in Italy and not know exactly which one we're referring to. And it was developed via a special innovation section of its Development and Cohesion Fund. Now, Digital Sky is a project that's born out of the desire of innovation, especially from a series of companies and organizations that have been cooperating at the forefront of technology in different areas and have decided to collaborate, colliding together their skills and their knowledge specifically for this project. Briefly put, the reference aspect was and is still unmanned aerial vehicles at large, which are supposed to be the future of mobility, and every suggestion, every policy in that direction for the future of transport is pointing in that direction. And the specific aim of this project was to build a first corridor in which unmanned drones could fly in safe conditions. And basically, the goal of the project was to demonstrate that it was possible to obtain what are called inalterable data by pairing a obstacle detection system together with a blockchain system. Practically, this means that the data that are given by the system to identify that has the function of identifying non-cooperative obstacles and inform the drone commands, those data cannot be alterated. Therefore, adding a layer of security, specifically when it comes to areas or products that are particularly delicate to be transported. For example, we could imagine blood transport, sanitary transport between hospitals, or even organs that are needed quickly for a transplant. Those have a much higher layer of security with respect to packages, for example. And this is also able to constitute a very solid basis for a larger aspect of mobility. What happens, for example, when unmanned air taxis could become a reality? How do we ensure that the data behind them is inalterable and safe and secure? And passengers are absolutely safe whenever they take a specific drone to go in any direction. All of this is part of the future, obviously, but the future needs to start in the present. And this is a great example of how different companies have been able to collaborate specifically to this aim. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you the companies that have built this consortium, which are the Verona Scientific and Tecnological Park, the Edge Company, Dottor Marc, and Italsicurezza. Introducing our guests, then we have first Mr. Simone Bernardini, who is representing the Verona, the Verona Tecnological Park. We have Mr. Fabio Masci, who is the founder and CEO of the Edge Company, AI-focused company based in Rimini. We have Mr. Alessandro Saletti, an expert developer for Dr. Marc, focusing on vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. And lastly, we have Simone Sterza, representing Italsicurezza. He's a system engineer, and all of these four companies have been cooperating, have had the history of cooperation even way before this specific project. And what I would start with is asking you some questions after welcoming you to this live webinar. And I would ask, first of all, maybe Mr. Simone Bernardini about a couple of aspects and a couple of details. First of all, about what your role specifically in the park is, and basically if you could give yourself a bit of a better and more precise introduction than what I could have given you from my side. Simone, the stage is yours. I will give you center stage.
Thank you, Edoardo. Good afternoon, all the person connected with us. And I'm Simone Bernardini. I'm an engineer that working as innovation manager here in Scientifico Tecnologico Park. And about your request, our company, tell me, you have any question?
Well, actually, the first question that I would have is, we know the Verona Science and Technological Park to be an excellence in the region, specifically, of course, given the name for science and technology and innovation. Maybe could you elaborate a bit more about what the role of the park has been with respect to this project?
So, in the end, our company followed the inclination of the Edge company, which has always been concerned with the safety in air mobility, as you know. And we joined to the pool of company by trying, with our expertise, to find a public funding to build an initial prototype corridor, as you explained before, in order to mitigate the risk of collision with uncooperative obstacle. And this is, it seems like a visionary idea, because we know this kind of project is more particular, but if you want to keep with the future, you also have to there, So we know that in Italy we have a lot of so much excellence in information technology. So we push it to try to do something that would make our area and our country stand out for the innovation that is in our NDA, normally. So this is more or less the principle of our company. So try to combine all our experience and bring a lot of information from each expertise and try to define in a better way what kind of result is possible to define during the collaboration. So in that way, this kind of prototype corridor is very, very beautiful idea that is not possible to stop, and but it's necessary to arrive to finalize the result with all the company that is involved on.
You used a word that is quite representative for me. You used the word visionary, because sure, we have, and by we I mean all the companies operating in this area. I've been collaborating with the Edge company for a while, and I know the environment a bit. And every company, every policymaker has this vision specifically, but vision alone doesn't take you anywhere. It's important to have the final stage, but if the vision is to operate in safety and there is no system that allows you to operate in safety, then there is a problem. In practical terms, I'm curious about an aspect. You had a role of also communicating directly with all the different representatives of this consortium. How important is it in a project like this to ensure coordination among partners? And how did you manage to ensure it in practice? Were there any areas where you needed more detail, for example?
Yes, sure. The park built a systematic process of validation and testing a remote communication model of monitoring uncooperative obstacles along urban corridors, validating as of now a remote control model that monitor individual drone movement tracks along the air corridor. So you think if we have a lot of drones that are moving along the corridor, and in the same way, it's necessary to have also the movement, the line that this kind of drone have during the movement in the corridor. Although the project has introduced significant technological innovation, because in that way a lot of patent could be present, but in a lot of information is already present in the partner aggregation. So it is very important to define the beginning of our expertise, our project, because in the end, if we have an initial point of view, we are able to combine together and arrive to define better way the solution. In that way, the relation between each of these company will be necessary, because in the end, all idea must be finalized to define this kind of solution. And in the end, from this develop, we arrive to define also a copyright and register it on the CEIE, sorry, because the Italian language is a little bit different, regarding the development of the software. In particular, we know the BCMS, System Management Algorithm, and the communication protocol integrated with the blockchain, no? So more or less, the Digital Sky project has achieved a high degree of technological innovation thanks to introduction of cutting-edge solution in terms of blockchain, artificial intelligences, and edge computing. We know how this kind of solution is important for this kind of develop, no? So
definitely.
So sorry, it's a long idea, because in the end, it's not easy to explain better way this kind of solution. But I'm sure that my colleague doing our dialogue introduce a better way and a more technical point of view.
Definitely, and you hit the nail on the head with that in terms of technology and the difficulty that you have in integrating all these aspects, because we're talking about blockchain, we're talking about the cybersecurity, we're talking about a very specific installation and hardware, as well as very specific software. So,
and especially, sorry, Edoardo, we working always according to safety, because it's necessary to understand that this kind of point is all related to the safety, because in case a failure for this kind of movement inside the corridor become, we know it's possible that a lot of problem burn for the person in general, because we spoke about the movement in the urban area, but also we think if we have the blood to moving from hospital another hospital, maybe more of person will be damaged for this kind of issue.
Definitely. And when it comes to the safety aspect, I think this is really the core of the project. But maybe this is something that I would like to engage Mr. Fabio Masci with. So, Simone, thank you so much for your intervention. Fabio, welcome to the stage. Fabio Masci is the founder and CEO of the Edge company, and as you can see from the background, someone who has quite a long experience in Air Force, in the Italian Air Force. Now, I understand that safety has been your concern for a while, and you can speak from experience about this. When it comes to UAVs or UAMs, depending on what acronym you want to use, the vision, again, is that soon we will all be able to use this type of vehicles either to transport objects or delicate health-related issues or even passengers in safety. But is it really so? And where do the risks lie?
Thank you, Edoardo. Thank you, and thank you to everybody who has joined us. It's a pleasure. Yes, safety concerns are very important, especially where we are approaching a new complete concept, because the urban air mobility introduced complete different concept, and the concern regulatory authorities has in terms of certification are there to demonstrate that this is a big issue. Now, at the very beginning, yes, I've been spending a lot of time in my professional careers addressing safety-related issues, because safety is nothing but an enabler for operational activity. So if you don't have safety, you cannot operate and so accomplish your mission, whatever mission is going to be. Based on that concept, as you know, the BCMS, our Bird Control and Management System, was initially developed for the birds detection at airports to avoid the bird strike. But then the bird strikes and environmental concerns are present, very present, in even more in the urban air mobility or advanced air mobility, whatever we want to call it. Since now we are putting some aircraft, drones, whatever they are, in a very low airspace, flying just above your head. And there are different aspects to be concerned about. The first one is safety. Okay, is there any chance of bird strike? Yes, there is, of course. Is it possible that this bird strike caused damage? To a certain extent, yes. Okay, talking about experts, some of them said, yeah, but the speeds that we are taking in consideration are not so high, so we estimate that the damage to an aircraft will be low. And I said, yes, but there are two kind of different aspects. First of all, the environmental concern. I want to mention that, for example, the European Commission made an extensive research about acceptance of the urban air mobility around the European territories. And it's very important to stress the fact the findings of this research demonstrate that people is concerned about these numbers of drones flying around the space that could have affect negatively the wildlife. So there is not just a matter of safety related to the drones, but we have to consider, because I think the time is over, we have to consider the environment where we live. So there is the safety aspects for the birds as well. And the other aspect is, yes, if you consider some drones, the majority of them, some eVTOLs developed in Europe, for example, volocopter, their speed is not that high. But if you consider different kinds of aircraft, like the ones that they are developing in the United States, the speed are comparable to light aircraft. So that means that if there is a bird strike, yes, you can have a damage. So you need to think about what happens if an aircraft crashes for a bird strike. There is a lot of news around because people is scared about flying or crashing out, whatever it's going to be. But think about one of these drones crashing Milano downtown, London downtown. What is going to be the outcome of this disaster? Because at the end of the day, the more questions they are putting out to understand the acceptance by population about this new industry, the majority of the people is scared about using this technology to travel. So we have to build safe environment to convince people and explain to people that this new mobility is going to be safe and secure to be used, because it's going to be even useful for the environmental purposes.
Indeed, and if you look at if I go back to the idea of the vision that the European Commission themselves have set of pushing this type of mobility as a cleaner alternative, because I understand it will be electric for the most part. And if you look at the scale with which we are approaching the issue, well, the near future looks at a very high density of such aircrafts, which I guess even adds more to the need for specific safety. However, one of the things that I remember, and I think you touched briefly upon this, was the issue of non-cooperative obstacles. Because if I understand correctly, cooperative obstacles are basically another drone where you can communicate and inform about your direction, simplifying, of course. Whereas a bird or even a balloon that has been let go by a kid could constitute an obstacle, because a non-cooperative one, because you cannot force it to react to your commands. So at this point, as of now, what are the systems not only available for unmanned aerial vehicles, but in the world? What systems do we have available to deal effectively with non-cooperative obstacles? And why do they work or not work?
And thank you for this question, because I think this is crucial to understand where we are aiming at and why we do so. So you're right. People and industry were focused mainly to make sure drones A and drone B won't collide each other, but they are aware of the other position. Now, the skies are not ours. There are birds, there are drones that can be even malicious drones. There could be drones that are damages. So they lost their electronic equipment, so they're not able to communicate anymore with others. And then becomes non-cooperative because yes, there's going to be some safety measures, but anyway, from the moment they have this malfunction to the moment they reach a safe area, there's going to be a time where they are completely non-cooperative. Yes, there are balloons, there are birds, and there are aircraft. And now, if you look outside, what's happening in the world right now, we can appreciate how can drones be used, and this is a threat. So, to answer your question, how many systems are there out there? I will use a politically correct answer. I will say few, just few systems, because the industry is focused on cooperative detection. There are two kinds of systems that we can use for non-cooperative obstacles. One is kind of the radar, avian radars kind of stuff, and one is a system like ours that is completely passive and optical. So there are good and bad in each system, of course, but what we can say that, of course, install a radar that emit strong electromagnetic emission in a urban environment is going to be a pretty tough experience, because of course you need a lot of authorization, you need to have a lot of clearances because of emission and stuff like that. I won't touch the aspect of the performance per se. While our system is based on cameras, is a complete passive system, is very effective with little small objects like birds and drones, especially the micro mini drones, or the drones that a child can buy, or the DJI's kind of drones. We proved that is very effective. So we can provide a comprehensive situational awareness to the drones that will populate the U space, so the lower airspace, in terms of non-cooperative obstacles. And then we can easily integrate with platforms that are called UTM, so unmanned traffic management platforms that take care of the cooperative obstacles. So at the end of the day, the operators that will use the U space will have a comprehensive situation about both cooperative and non-cooperative obstacles in a green way. And I stress the fact because we think and believe a lot on that. So our solution won't pollute the environment with new electromagnetism. Our solution is fully respect of the biodiversity, because we will identify the birds, and we try to use not cruel action to let them fly away. But I tell you more, once we got enough data on that, we can use our solution in both tactical purposes and for strategic purposes. So knowing, for example, and this is what the BCMS does very well, knowing where the birds are, knowing where they are at specific time of the year or at a specific time of the day, we can anticipate some planning purposes, route A, route B, route C, so people can, based on the information we provide, plan in advance and then make the right choice to minimize the impact on wildlife, minimize the risk. And at the same time, there's going to be always the BCMS that for tactical purposes, it can warn you about a possible threat that is coming out suddenly. And even more, so basically, this is what we are focusing on, because we think that we are missing something. So there is a lot of issue out there in terms of certification. I'll give you another example, for example. So regulatory agency, and now they start releasing a certification, especially in China and the United States. Europe is a little bit behind, more concerned about that. But so it is foreseen that an eVTOL need to land to a position in case of a malfunction. Okay, just for everybody awareness, in case of a standard aircraft, when you arrive at the final destination, you have to have the fuel that allows you at least to fly for another half an hour to reach an alternate airfield for safety purposes. Now, this won't be possible for an electrical EV tool. So that means that to go from point A to point B, that maybe is going to be 40 kilometers, you have to have some landing pads that are completely unmanned that you can use in case of an emergency. Now, the question that arises is who's going to watch for these pads? What's going to happen if you have an emergency and in that bed you have a car? You are a little boy playing with these drones. So this is the kind of situation. What if we made ourselves to create the concept of operation to make sure that what we were proposing is really focusing on saving and allowing operations of the urban air mobility, so the launch of the urban air mobility. Because, by the way, is the urban air mobility is being launched. There are a lot of announcements, India, US, that we are starting the industry.
Definitely, and it's quite interesting to hear you talk because all of a sudden you get a sense of the scale of the relevance of this problem. The problem being ensuring safety, because all of a sudden you're not talking about just a single radar, but you're talking about systems that allow you to monitor every single eVTOL or drone, every single landing pad, every single area of relevant interest. So it is important also that a system that is used for this can also be installed on each drone and on each landing pad, and also can be coordinated and actually share this type of data. Because if you can receive a communication beforehand in an integrated manner, then you can also gradually increase safety. When it comes to safety, however, and when it comes to picturing a system like this, I understand that maybe some of our listeners, by the way, if any of our listeners have any questions, please feel free to write them down in the comments and we will address them in due time. I was saying, if you hear of a perspective like this with cameras and data observing, safety becomes a concern, or privacy in a way becomes a concern. And I want to address some of these aspects to Dr. Marc. So Fabio, thank you so much for being with us today. And I would like to welcome to the stage Mr. Alessandro. There you go. Hi, Alessandro. Alessandro Saletti, sorry, I forgot your last name. Maybe, Alessandro, could you please give me a brief introduction of who you are and what your focus area of activity is? And secondly, I go directly in the first question. I know that Dr. Marc, the organization you work for, deals with blockchain at large. Could you explain us what you have achieved for this project?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Edoardo. I'm Saletti Alessandro, and I'm working as a developer and security researcher at Dr. Marc. My main role focuses on building a secure web application and conducting vulnerability assessments on the application and the infrastructures in order to the digital infrastructure of the clients in order to protect from cyber threats. At Dr. Marc, we specialize in developing cutting-edge security solution for that. And in this specific context, at Dr. Marc, we have developed a private blockchain that is designed to execute transaction in a rapid and let's say in a scalable manner. So the primary focus of the project has been to ensure a really high level of security at every stage, from the insertion of data to its long-term storage. We have implemented robust cryptographic protocols and security measures made in order to guarantee integrity and also the confidentiality of the transaction. This ensures that data is both tamper-proof and highly protected. So yeah, this is the main focus of Dr. Marc for the project.
And in terms of practical application for I guess you have developed or realized a particular protocol specifically for this project. Maybe you just already started leading into that direction. What were the specifics? Was there any challenge that this project, being so peculiar, so niche, so operating in a cutting edge environment, posed to basically achieving what you managed to achieve?
Yes, that's correct. We have implemented a custom protocol specifically designed to ensure the highest level of security throughout the whole blockchain process. That's the reason why our primary challenge was to maintain data integrity and protection in every stage, from the moment data is entered into the system to its long-term storage. To address this, we integrated advanced encryption techniques and developed a multi-layer security approach. While security was our main focus, we also tried to ensure that the protocol allows the system to scale efficiently and handle large volume of data.
And I want to ask a question following directly the last words you said, so large volume of data, because on the one hand, I know from experience that a system like BCMS is based on basically generating an insane amount of data and needing to process it. And I also know, based on my layman's knowledge, that blockchain is relatively resource intensive. So can the amount of data that BCMS generates at every stage actually be managed by the blockchain? And how do you manage to do it efficiently? Because we're talking about almost real-time interactions.
Yes, there is a really high amount of data, and basically our blockchain solution is capable of handling large volumes by system like large volumes of data generated by system like air traffic management. To address this, we have implemented an hybrid data manager approach. The blockchain itself handles critical transactional data, ensuring that it is secure and immutable, while non-essential or large data sets are stored off the chain using scalable storage solution. So this approach significantly, let's say that it reduces the load on the blockchain, allowing it to process high volumes.
And has this been proven has this been effective in practice? And have you noticed a major difference?
Yeah, definitely. The results and our tests have proved that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on the achievement. And I'm pretty sure that given the start of this project, given that we're just at the beginning, proving this and proving this connection can lead to further work and maybe speeding up more the management of an even larger volume of data. Thank you very much, Alessandro, for your contribution. And now I would like to relatively shift gears, because we've been talking about the management of the project. We've been talking about software or data in two different areas. However, it is also true that if you put any Formula One driver in a slow car, the performance, as good as the pilot may be, as good as the skills may not be as great as if you put it in a Ferrari, just to remain Italian. What I'm trying to say is that while software management is an important part, so is hardware, because all this project is also based on installing it and providing the infrastructure on which such a project is able to operate. And to deal with this, I would like to introduce Mr. Simone Sterza to the stage. Simone Sterza is a system engineer at Italsicurezza, which is a certified system installer. Please correct me if I'm wrong, excuse me. Maybe while I drink a sip of water, could you give me a brief introduction of yourself and maybe start by telling me what, in terms of hardware, what were the main elements of the project and what determined the choice of working with one of those versus another one. I need to point out that you're still muted and then you need to unmute yourself. Okay, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Edoardo. Hello, everyone. I'm Simone Sterza, and in Italsicurezza, I hold the role of IT manager and the head of the video surveillance division. Italsicurezza is a system integrator that deals with security and safety for business, customers, and public bodies. In this project, brought my 20-year experience in the field of outdoor wireless network infrastructure and the video surveillance systems, taking care of the installation and startup phase of the prototype. So, for your question, for to create the system, our team of experts in the video surveillance field carry out an in-depth study evaluating the various types of hardware available on the market. So after this study, we find out that the best solution was to adopt stable, reliable, and quality cameras equipped with specific mechanical and electrical and functional characteristics. For example, on a mechanical level, we evaluated the weight, aerodynamics, resistance to saline environment certification, to constant wind and gusts of wind, the possibility of pole top installation for a complete 360 degrees view of the site, the old site to be monitored, IK 10 anti-vandal certification, and IP68 water and dust protection rating, and finally the high rotation speed per second. After electrically, the cameras must have redundant power like a PoE and 24 alternative current voltage, and a brushless motor. So the cameras also had to respect specific features such as high image stability, PTZ, high 4K resolution, integration with long-range adaptive IR illuminator for night vision, great precision in pan and tilt movements for preset positioning. So the prototype was installed on a mobile vehicle for greater versatility and required the presence of multiple hardware components in addition of the camera, of course, such as a trailer, a weather-tight rack cabinet, and a telescopic pole. The cameras have been integrated into the Milestone Explorer Professional Plus as VMS chosen for video recording. And the last, the VMS was installed, of course, on a dedicated virtual machine in the server unit.
Understood. Thank you very much. And when it comes, I mean, just by listening to you, it sounds like a massive amount of challenges and work that you had to go through. I assume you had to work in phases. You were not able to figure out directly what all the right components and the right combination was. What were the main phases you did follow in that regard?
Yes, the hardware implementation process of the system involved 3 phases, basically. First, initially, it was necessary a study and analysis phase of the hardware devices on the market, identify technologies were used to create a prototype in our laboratory. Then, secondary, we tested the prototype functionality in a controlled environment in order to meet the technical requirements, of course. The prototype was positioned on the mobile trailer equipped with a telescopic pole and a watertight rack cabinet. The camera and the weather station for detection of environmental data were installed on the telescopic pole. The server unit, the network devices, and the anti-sabotage sensor are located in the rack cabinet. So all the network devices were designed to be able to operate with an extending temperature range, minus 40 degrees up to 70 Celsius degrees. After that, we led a site survey at Legnago Airport as the site chosen for the Digital Sky project. The site survey, in fact, allowed us to identify the most suitable positioning for monitoring the runway and also how to take advantage of existing infrastructures such as power supply and suitable mobile connectivity. Once the tests in a controlled environment were completed and inspection was done, the trailer was positioned at the pre-established point on the airport sites. At the end, the only difficulty was the instability of the telescopic pole, which oscillated during the rapid movements of the camera. So the mechanical problem was fixed with appropriately positioned tie rods driven into the ground. And that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. And in all this, how much of a challenge? I mean, I assume that both the physical security and the continuity of service throughout the whole system, because as you describe it, it just grows in complexity. I guess that had to be ensured somehow. How did you tackle that challenge?
Yes, thank you. Good question. The physical security of the system is strictly linked to the infrastructure present on the site. For example, architectural barriers and access ways to the site. Based on the elements and considering the security systems already present at the site, we have evaluated the installation of inertial sensor and magnetic contacts in the rack cabinet to mitigate the risk of sabotage, of course. The system is scalable and it's possible to further increase the level of security of the site by installing video surveillance cameras, anti-intrusion sensors, or for example, video surveillance cameras with video analysis integrated for intrusion detection. All main system devices such as camera, server, network switch, and mobile router are equipped with the redundant power supplies to ensure continuity of service. An UPS has been inserted in the rack cabinet of the trailer, of course, capable of providing sufficient autonomy to send alarms and technical notification in the event of a power blackout. In the event of a connectivity interruption, the mobile modem is equipped with a dual SIM card from different network operators. So the solution has been designed to be resilient and adaptable to the location, both from a hardware and software point of view, improving efficiency and reliability. So that's all about the physical security and continuity service.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, first of all, I'm going to call everyone back on stage. So re-welcoming all the different participants and hopefully trying to, yes, provide a proper stage for everyone to share. So first of all, thank you so much for enlightening us with this, with some extra details about this project. If there are any questions for our speakers, this is something for our listeners, please feel free again to write them in the comments. And if there is anything, I will make sure that we can transfer it to our guests today. I do have a question that I'm going to open to basically everyone, and whoever has the answer, please feel free to jump in. And basically, one of the major concerns that I, as a user, could be having is how much my privacy would be in danger or would be threatened by such a system that, to someone who doesn't know, could almost look like Big Brother. So how does a system like this still manage to protect people's privacy? Anybody?
Yeah. Can I answer?
I see Simone and Fabio. So Simone, you took the you go first, and then Fabio, you to follow.
Okay. In order to create a prototype that is effective and secure at 360 degrees, also from privacy level, initial consultation was requested from the Italian Data Protection Authority, as the functioning of the system may involve the systematic and large-scale acquisition of personal data, as the provision WP 243 of 5th April 2017. To better protect people's privacy, we adopt a third-party plugin application with a dynamic blurring function capable of making people filmed by the camera unrecognizable, in addition to the information boards required by law. Furthermore, measures have been activated to anonymize all data processed by the system. Nothing else.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
I will
I
not
can-
comment and let Fabio take the stage.
Yes, I would like to elaborate that because together with Italsicurezza, we developed the first, I think, worldwide privacy policy because we care about privacy. So, the DCMS is a safety related equipment, but because of the nature of the industry, advanced air mobility, we can envision that this system will be installed in a urbanized environment where you will have cars, you will have people. So privacy has been one of the major concerns, and this is why we have developed this very well designed privacy policy that right now has been presented to the authority. And we are very glad of that because it's going to be, I guess, one of the first in the world that takes in proper consideration this aspect for this kind of application. And this is another important pillar to us.
Thank you, Fabio. I have just another question. Just in general, we talked about acceptance. We talked about acceptance of new ways of mobility. We talked about how the policy is being pushed, rightly so, and how much there are safety concerns. But right now, the drones are still somehow controlled by a person. There is a person behind them, or you can even take a taxi driven by a pilot, as you would do with a helicopter. But in a while, the personal component will disappear completely. What's the deal with that, basically?
Yeah, I can answer to that.
Okay.
I thank you for the question, because all what we do is looking forward this milestone. So by 2030, 2035, depending on the technological level development, all these machines will be autonomous. Then the obstacle detection will be even more relevant. Okay, so because the machine itself need to recognize that there is an obstacle and need to apply the best suitable solution for avoiding these obstacles. And yeah, it won't happen soon, but we are ready, because as the Edge company, we are part of a consortium with other industries, little industries in Italy, little companies, and we develop a solution that we call the Omnisphere, whatever, I don't remember the name, Sentinel. Yes, Omnisphere Sentinel. That means that we integrated with this technology developed by DPM Drone. This is the company name, that allows to read all the data of the drones and push some data to the drones. So what is the good stuff about this solution? That we push real-time information about non-cooperative obstacles through this technology to the drones. At this point, from the ground and from the earth, from airborne, the drones is aware of non-cooperative obstacles, and then in real time can decide what is the best strategy to avoid that drones. And this is another huge milestone in terms of safety that goes back again on acceptance, because we can tell to people, yes, it's a safe infrastructure, and what we're doing basically is just building the digital infrastructure in support of this industry. So this is a huge milestone. We tested, it works. And again, I'm very glad you asked me this question, because we care a lot about that.
Thank you, Fabio. I think I have one last question. I don't see any comments popping up, apart from some hellos and congratulations coming from a couple of people. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your support. I just have one last question before the end of the webinar, which is, there is one aspect we haven't touched yet, and this is something probably open to everyone. What if it rains? What if it's windy? What if some environmental factors basically happen? Can they influence the system, and to what extent? And how safeguarded are we in all the different components, of course? Open to everybody, of course.
I can elaborate on that a bit. First of all, in terms of weather condition, of course, for now, it's not foreseen that these drones will operate in conditions that are not VFR, so visual condition. But the system demonstrated already that even in presence of fog, heavy rain, degraded condition, we anyway detect the obstacle as well. So we have a few factors joining at this point. Usually when you have bad weather, for example, birds usually fly less. Usually not all the drones will be certified to fly with bad weather conditions, but the good news is that anyway, our system will detect obstacles even in a degraded weather condition as well. And even by night using new sensors. And just for information, we are looking ahead using new generation cameras that are called event cameras. So we are always looking for innovating and make the solution ready for the next future challenges.
Can I think, please?
Please do.
For complete the answer of Fabio, I would like speak about the presence of the weather station installed on the top near close the camera, so we can to do a correlation with the weather and the presence of birds.
Thank you very much. I think I've just seen one last question. I see we have 5 minutes of time, so we'll just open it. There is a comment that is asking the panel, what do you think could be the main challenges for the integration of urban air mobility in Italy, considering the complex infrastructure network and existing air traffic regulation? How do you think cities can adapt to these new technologies? We have 4 minutes. I want to respect the end time for everybody. So a couple of concepts shot at rapid fire from whoever wants to take it.
Regulators need to start acting properly. So in Italy, we have already regulation ready. Now we need to turn this regulation in activities. This is the main concern. So, and then we did a lot of testing, not only us. So even in Fiumicino, they have been testing the ADP drone. They tested and proved that again, fly drones while aircraft are landing at Fiumicino Airport, that is very crowded airport, with no issue at all. So we have all the proof that this can be done. Of course, we need to take in consideration the different pieces of the puzzles, right? So we need a system that grant safety. We need a system. We need procedures. We need a comprehensive approach to the issue and avoiding silos as much as we can. This is my thought about that.
Would anybody like to add to the answer? Not obligatory, of course, but if there is anything, please feel free to add. I don't see anybody, I don't hear anybody jumping in, eager to contribute on stage right now. So I will assume that the answer was given and was comprehensive enough. So given the time, I think it is time to now go towards the end of this webinar. First of all, it's been a pleasure being here with you from my personal side. I would like to thank everyone that has been attending the webinar. It's been great to be able to push this sort of technology and this sort of collaboration, especially coming from Italian companies through LinkedIn, and to underline what these organizations are capable of. Of course, this type of project is important. I think thanks to the region of Veneto is due for supporting the funding of this project and helping these organizations actually push this type of innovation. It would not have been possible without that type of support. And in the end, what has been done is key. It's relevant both for the future of Italy and for the future of Italian companies in Europe and the future of urban air mobility. Simone, Fabio, Alessandro, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure being with you. For any questions, anybody listening, you have the profiles. Any curiosity, you have the profiles of the speakers. Feel free to reach out to them directly, and feel free to keep up with how the Digital Sky project is being pushed for the future. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Goodbye.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.